Okay, I have an update for the flu shot mandate for Massachusetts. I know that everybody knows that the flu shot mandate has been pushed back to February 28th. And Dow Bigtree interviewed the lawyer yesterday that has the flu shot mandate, and she's basing it on three grounds. Number one is that the unelected officials that are not accountable to any voter did not go through the required procedures. They didn't give a public notice and they didn't allow public hearing. So that is the first step. The other reason is they have no authority over college students. Well, isn't that interesting? Because they never informed us of that. And then number three, there is no evidence to show that the flu shot decreases hospitalizations, deaths, or community transmission. So I'm going to just let you hear the actual lawyer who has the case discuss this. And please share this video with everybody, not only Massachusetts residents, because I think it's important, because if Massachusetts falls, the whole nation falls. So everybody needs to hear this. And we all need to know the law, because if you don't follow the law, that's where you can get them. All right, here we go.
Joining me right now, Elizabeth Brim. First of all, I want to thank you for your amazing work, Elizabeth. We talk all the time. You work tirelessly putting, FOIA requests together or helping us, wade through some of the legal victories or challenges that we're facing. But specifically, first of all, this lawsuit, what is the lawsuit to begin with that is being filed for plaintiffs in Massachusetts?
Sure. Hi, Dal.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. So, what has happened in Massachusetts is that this past summer, unelected officials at the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, individuals who are not accountable to any voter, sat in a room and they decided that they were going to require a flu shot for everyone from the age of 6 months, like you said, through 30 years old, in order to attend childcare, school, or college. These same unelected, unaccountable individuals then issued a press release after making this decision announcing their fiat. They did not bother to go through the procedures that are required in order to enact a regulation in Massachusetts, such as giving public notice and allowing public hearings or comments. So, in
Okay.
response to that mandate, we have brought an action to challenge that requirement on basically two essential grounds. So, the first is that the Department of Public Health did not follow the law with regard to adopting a regulation in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Okay.
And even, I should say, even if they had followed the procedure for adopting that, they do not have the authority to do so for college students. The second uh, sort of foundation for the lawsuit is that the experts in our case agree that there is no justification for requiring a flu shot to begin with. These are renowned scientists we have as experts who have been studying the flu shot for decades. They have opined and presented to us and now the court that systematic reviews by the Cochrane Group have found no convincing evidence that influenza vaccines can reduce mortality, hospital admissions, serious complications, or even community transmission of influenza.
Wow. So basically, we're fighting on, we're basing on two fronts. You didn't go through the proper procedures to pass a law like this, and even if you had, you have no jurisdiction over universities and students there. And then we have a scientific side of this, which is there is, from renowned scientists and reviews, no proof that a flu shot actually stops hospital admissions or deaths, which is the entire purpose of this. I'm assuming this was all about, well, we're going to have so many COVID cases, we don't want to be filling the hospitals with flu cases. So we're fighting on both fronts. Now, normally, we don't
Absolutely.
announce anything in our lawsuits until we've won, but we're making an announcement today, sort of midstream. What is that announcement? What has just taken place?
Yeah, so exactly what you said is right, and this lawsuit procedurally has been a little bit interesting, even though it's in its early days for sure. We filed this case on a Friday, December 18th, right before the holidays. The next business day, which was Monday, December 21st, the court issued an order directing a hearing on the motion, and this was done in an expedited fashion, and the hearing was to be held 8 days later, which would have been December 29th. The motion that we were seeking was for a preliminary injunction, which would stop enforcement of that flu vaccine mandate so that no students were excluded from school as of January 1st, 2021,
Right.
which was the original deadline for the mandate.
Okay.
So the next business day after the court scheduled that hearing was Tuesday, December 22nd. And the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, same department that issued the original mandate, quietly updated their website and emailed schools to state that they would no longer be enforcing that mandate as of December 31st,
Wow.
2020. Yeah, so instead, they just changed the date within the documents on their website, stating that the enforcement would begin after February 28th, 2021. So this change was certainly not announced with the same fanfare and with similar press releases as the original mandate, assuming they must not have been, very proud to share the revision of that date.
Right.
And the next morning was December 23rd. The hearing date that the court had originally set for the 29th was then pushed back because of the delayed enforcement date. So, as things stand right now, the flu shot mandate in Massachusetts is only applicable until the end of March. So, March 31st, 2021. After that date, you no longer need to show that you've been vaccinated. So, effectively, for this school year, it is a 1 month mandate for students, daycare through 30 years old, which is a significant difference from
Yeah.
where we were 2 months ago. And now the hearing on that matter will be held at the end of January. It's been pushed back, but when that time comes, we will be making the case as to why the mandate should be struck down entirely.
All right, fantastic. And so I think the reason we're bringing this to you, to the public out there, if you live in Massachusetts, you do not, no matter what anyone tells you right now, you do not need a flu shot to go to school. If you did not see the fact that they had moved the date from December 31st, they've now moved it to the end of February. At which point we will be still involved in our filing of a preliminary injunction. I'm assuming we feel really good about the standing, and what we're fighting in this case. As we pointed out, the two major elements: they didn't file this law the correct way, they didn't use the correct procedures, they don't have jurisdiction over universities, and then the science does not stand up to make this viable or valuable in an effort to stop, infections coming into hospitals, things like that. So, Elizabeth,
Absolutely.
first of all, I think it's a great win just because kids are now in school without a flu shot, and that's the goal: to constantly keep fighting this. These cases can go on and on like this, right? But I think that we'll keep everybody updated, right, on what happens at the end of January when we file for that preliminary injunction. We'll bring you back on to let us know how that went. But right now, everyone in
Great.
Massachusetts should know that we've managed to get this flu mandate pushed back from the beginning of December now back to the end of February. So go to school. Don't worry about it. Now you know. You can point to the documents on the health department's website. Elizabeth, one of the big questions coming up right now is obviously all around the COVID-19 vaccine. And I know that your team has been working very hard.
Okay, so that's the end of the flu shot mandate information. This next part that she talks about is really important because I'm getting a lot of questions about this as well. Is the COVID vaccine being mandated in schools? Not schools, I'm sorry, in workplaces. So this is really important. She's going to work for you guys if you're being forced to take the vaccine in order to keep your employment. And she's the one to contact. So listen to what she has to say about that. But if you don't want to hear this and you only hear for the flu shot, then you can end here. But I think this is important for everybody to listen to this.
hard. We've been working together with our science and talking about it looks like even though they may not attempt to mandate a vaccine under emergency use authorization, which is where it's at for the COVID-19 vaccine, they won't mandate it in states as of yet. They may go after employers and having employers mandate it for their employees. This is a huge concern. It's something that I know you've been looking closely at. Do we think that there's some hope in being able to beat these cases, which we will be helping support with ICANN, and all the donations that come in are a part of the work that you guys are doing? Do we think that we have a case against employers that try to force vaccines on their employees?
Absolutely, absolutely. We talk all the time, and just like you're getting inquiries, we are as well. Many employees are becoming increasingly concerned that their employer might mandate a COVID-19 vaccine as a condition of their employment. So we're hearing, just like you are, questions of what do I do if my employer says that in order to keep my job or return to the workplace, I must receive one of the two currently authorized or any future authorized COVID-19 vaccine.
Mm.
So I think at this stage, there's a few important things for people to understand about this issue. The first is that there is a significant difference between a recommendation and a mandate. So employers are likely free and may very well take this opportunity to encourage or recommend that their employees get a COVID-19 vaccine. That is not a mandate. In the event of an actual mandate, that would be a situation where an employer ties receipt or administration of the vaccine to an individual's job or certain criteria for their job. An employer in that case will likely face a legal challenge as to its authority to mandate the current COVID-19 vaccines as they're presently authorized for use in the United States. At CIRI and Glimstad, we have looked into this in depth and believe that the law is set and quite clear. And so we are happy to take on the issue of any employer that mandates a COVID-19 vaccine that is in use pursuant to an emergency use authorization as needed.
Well, I think that's fantastic news. I know a lot of people are probably breathing a sigh of relief. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have to fight. It doesn't mean that we won't need to
That's
use
right.
legal recourse. We can assume that there will be employers that will come under pressure, whether it's from health departments or family members in government. Who knows? But it's awesome to know that you guys are out there. Elizabeth, I know it's a lot for a lawyer to come onto a show and really talk about cases. And of course, there are private individuals that are involved in these cases that will always
Yes.
remain anonymous in the work that they are doing. And that's really, it's about their cases. But there's so much you guys are doing. I mean, just earlier in the show, I was talking, about the FOIA request that we got.
Okay, so that is the end of that. So flu shot update, and then also for the C19 injection, if your employer is forcing you to get this emergency use authorized investigational non-tested pharmaceutical product, she is the one to get in touch with. So I'm going to leave the link below with her name. And if anyone has any questions, you should contact them. This is going to be a really challenging time. Please do not say yes to anything that you don't agree with. If it's in your heart and you don't want to give your child something that you don't agree with, please don't do it, and don't wait for government to give you permission or not permission. They do not own your child. They do not make decisions for your child. You do. And also, when it comes to your job, they do not make decisions for you. You make decisions for your health. We have to stand up, we have to say no, and we cannot comply to this madness. This is the first day of the rest of our lives, guys, and we got to take back our power, take back our freedoms, and keep our medical freedom alive. All right, everybody, stay strong out there, and I hope you got some good information from this video.